Hello, my name is Joel Gilmore, and I am a Arizona Cardinals fan, a Dodgers fan, and a USC fan. Um, I am a Sam Darnold and Miller Moss defender, going on two vindications. Um, Today, I'm going to be talking about USC and our past game against Rutgers, and the game before that, Maryland, in the next week's game, Washington. And if we have time, I'll talk about the Washington game. I will be sprinkling in some Miller Moss against Jordan Maiava talks and all that. So, firstly, um, we're going to be talking about the Maryland game. Um, Really disappointing game. We just didn't close the door. We needed to score a little bit more, or our defense had to stop them one or two more times. Um, I don't think their um, offense was all that. Um, and Miller Moss had a tough game that game, um, with the pick and the offense just grounding to a halt in the fourth quarter. Um, but we learn from it. We fight on. Um, yeah. Next, I'm not gonna talk more about it. It's done. It's it's in the past. I don't think that the Maryland game is indicative of our team's um, like what our team is. I think that the Michigan game and the Penn State game is more indicative of who we are as a team. We fight hard. We fight on, and we're a bit young in places. Our offensive line is not that good, but we just need to close the door on, on teams. Like that one stat that we've been leading in all fourth quarters in every single game this year, and we've managed to lose four of them, 4 out of 8. We managed to lose half of them. So we just need to clean some things up. We need to close the door on teams. I don't think that USC is bad by any means. We're just that team that can't close can't close games. um, On to the Rutgers game. Um, I think that it was a much better showing than the Maryland game. Um, we really closed the door on them in the third and fourth quarter. Um, Although it was pretty close in the third quarter, and we're just like, oh god, they're gonna come back on us. They're gonna beat us. Is this it? Is this gonna happen again? And we managed to pull it out. We managed to close the door, and hopefully this trend continues. Because, as I said earlier, we've been ahead in every single game this year, and we've managed to let some slip away. Uh, Next, we're going to talk about the Washington game, uh, the upcoming Washington game. I think that it's going to be a tough game. I think that we're going to be leading in the fourth, like we have most other most other games and such. I don't, I don't know if Washington is good enough this year. They just lost their head coach and their offensive coordinator and much of their offensive players and staff and uh, to Alabama. DeBoer really just took all that away. But I don't think that it will be that much of a difference for us because I think that we can and should beat Washington, um, but in all likelihood, we might keep the door open for them. Hopefully not. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But this year is just a rebuilding year for Washington. Their coach needs to do a lot of different stuff to keep them in this game. I don't think that um, they have enough talent, but I am more than happy. I'm not more than happy, but I'm more than likely to be wrong about this because I haven't really watched Washington. I've only really watched USC and uh, Miller Moss and all that. It's just we need to close out games. We really, really, really need to close out games. Um, with Washington, um, it's more. I saw that their fans are as well talking about how they're just a couple of um, they're just a couple of plays from being undefeated. They lost to Rutgers, they lost to Iowa, they lost to Indiana, but they beat Michigan. um, yeah, this team also seems to be really up and down. It seems, um, but November 2nd, 4:30. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Um, yeah, I don't think that we have much margin of error here. We should beat them, but with how our year's been going, that's not a guarantee. Um, next, we're gonna talk about. Oh, geez. Past couple of weeks, I've been seeing online of the Miller Moss and Jordan Maiava discussion, and people going like, "Oh, Jordan Maiava should start, or at least play a couple of snaps in the game, just to use his running ability to get around the defense and get more yards than Miller Moss can." And with the people who say Jordan Maiava should start and Miller Moss is just not the guy, I'm gonna say no. That's not the answer. Um, Miller Moss has played decently. He's been under attack the whole year. I was gonna say, did you watch the Michigan game? Did you watch the Penn State game? Um, the Michigan game, he was constantly on his back. He was constantly on his back, and we still almost won that game. And then with the Penn State game, they had two of the best pass rushers in the nation, and we still got out to a big lead. And then, yeah, we let them in the back door, but like we had a chance in that game, and that was due to Miller Moss. That was due to the defense. Um, now, if we could close games, we would be maybe we would be almost undefeated, if not undefeated. Um, but hey, it's it's how the season goes. It's how the season plays out. I think that Miller Moss is not. I don't know how to say this, but I think that he's really good. I think that he is the one to lead our team to the bowl game or wherever we're going. Um, but I don't like he's not Caleb Williams. I never thought that he was Caleb Williams, and neither is Jordan. Um, there's a reason. I've always said this. There's a reason that he won the job in spring because I don't know what it is with Jordan. Maybe he can't throw as well, or maybe he can't just read the defense like Miller can. But hopefully, I think um, the most oh gosh, the thing that I agree with the most is that maybe Jordan can come in maybe 4 times a game to maybe like a package, like a wild card packet, a wildcat package, and maybe just run or pass, like run or pass, just some screens, some pitches, just to keep the defense off balance. But also, then they'll know that he's he's where we do our pitches, our screens, and it will be more kind of predictable. But hopefully, hopefully that we can pull out some more games. Um, I haven't agreed with at all with the sentiment that Miller Moss is not the guy, um, and he's mid. I've seen that too, that he's mid, and just can't lead us to wherever they think he should be leading us to. Um, other than that, I think that he's grown a lot. I think he has grown a lot this season. Um, he's not done growing in his quarterback role, um, and it's just a young team. It's a really young team. I mean, to get healthy, get older. I heard on Colin Cowherd that seems like the Texas team from 2 years ago, which, seeing how Texas is now, I hope that's the case. I hope that's the case that we're like what Texas was 2 years ago, where we can't seem to pull out games, but um, we're really young and our offensive line is really young. So here's to hoping. Um, next, Lincoln Riley, the talk around Lincoln Riley, I think that it's kind of overblown and kind of like it's his first year with this new defense, with this team. He's used to scoring 45 points and the other team scoring 42. So kind of trying to play complementary football with this new better defense is kind of hard. And I think that like we scored a lot last game. We scored a lot and we held the other team to 20 points. So I think we're getting into that mode now of we're going to score, and also it just took a while for the team to mesh this year. It seems like that although Miller played in last year's bowl game, I think that a lot of the team it was like for Caleb Williams, and this past game and with the Louisville game last year, the bowl game, Miller really threw it to Makai Lemon, um, a lot. And then this past couple for the whole year, this past weeks, I haven't really seen Makai, um, and that's strange because it's like when I saw the Louisville game, I was like, yeah, it's his favorite target. It seems like. And then when Makai started going off this past game, I was like, there's Mackay, there's Lemon. I don't know what was happening the past games with Mackay, but hopefully now we'll put Mackay in more if he wasn't in already. Hopefully he throws to Mackay Lemon more to get those chunk plays and um, Lane and our other receivers like they need to go through the catch because I can think of a few games where just catching the ball was a problem and stuff like that. But Lincoln Riley was shown really upset this past game with some calls and yelling at the refs and stuff like that. And I think that's also something that um, people were looking for some passion from the coach and some real like some real stuff that they can hold on to where he's yelling at people or stuff like that, which kind of gets me because I'm just like, does a coach really need to yell for him to be a good coach? Like I can think of Pete Carroll, where he never really yelled at players and he never really yelled at refs unless it was an egregiously bad call. But he was one of our best coaches of all time. Um, Other than that, I think that Lincoln Riley can continue building. Uh, we just got the offensive lineman from that decommitted from Utah, um, and we're getting more offensive linemen in on the way. You just need to be a little bit more patient. And I know USC fans known for their patience, but I think that we really need to be a little bit more patient on this one. I remember when Clay Helton was fired and Lincoln Riley was hired. I was like, how long will it take for USC fans to run this guy out of town? And it seems like 3 years. But we just need to be a little bit more patient, a little more like, oh, let's. This year is kind of a rebuilding year from Caleb, but we need to be a little bit more patient, a little bit, because I think we're going to make a bowl game this year. It'll be hard to see that we're not going to, but anything's possible with this team. Um, but for next year, I think we're going to be a lot better. Um, our offensive lineman will be a year older, um, still growing, still learning stuff. We just need to lock in for these next couple weeks. Um, and yeah, other than that, let's talk about the Nebraska game 2 weeks from now with Baby Mahomes and Raiola and stuff like that. Um, I'll probably talk about it more. Probably get more research in, but from what little I've seen of Nebraska, I think they're a lot like us in that they're really young, offensive minded head coach. They just had some more balls bounced their way. I think they've only had 2 losses, but for Nebraska, I think that it's going to be really uh, the same. Like we have a lot of similarities in the two teams, and I think that a lot of the stuff that we do well, they do well, and what we do badly, they do badly. Um, that opinion might change. All of this is subject to change um, for next time. Um, but hey, we just need to fight on. We need to keep fighting. We just need to keep going, and hopefully, we'll retain a lot of starters next year and stuff like that, um, so that we can go into next year a little bit better, a little bit stronger. Um, geez. Um, yeah, I think that's all that I have on USC today. Um, Probably have more next Monday, hopefully, hopefully. Um, uh, Now it's time to go over NFL stuff. Um, as today is Monday, we'll talk about Tuesday's game on Wednesday. Um, but um, it was a good Sunday slate. I talked about I talked about the Vikings Rams game last time, uh, and all that with the face mask and all that. But I really think that the Vikings had a lot more chances to win that game, especially when Darisaw got hurt. I was like, oh no, like they have good pass rushers on that defense, even though they've lost a ton of games. I think they're now that they're getting healthy, they're gonna go on a run. Um, but let's start with Cardinals Dolphins. Uh, I was hoping that we would win. I have a pick'em league and I chose them to win, so they pulled it out at the last second. Um, and yeah, the Cardinals continue to be a team that you have no idea which team you're going to get each and every week. But Gannon has them fighting because they were down. I think they were down like they were down in that game in the third quarter. Yeah, they were down 27-18, and when the Dolphins scored that last touchdown, I was like, this might be over. But they kept fighting. They ended up winning by a point, but win's a win. A win's a win, and especially with Tua coming back this game, he played pretty well. Um, he had a run that everyone's like, slide, 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 um, and he did. So that man needs to slide, especially since he's not wearing a Guardian cap. Personal choice. Jets Patriots. Patriots won. Uh, that game, I was thinking that the Jets were going to win because they they won pretty easily last time, and I didn't think that Drake May was going to be. And Drake May got hurt, so Jacoby Brissett came in, and they still won. So the the Jets were having more fun, I think, in that game. Uh, I Aaron Rodgers, man, he needs to. If he is doing his Brett Favre stuff, then the Jets he's not going to do that much with. And then he's going to move to another team and take them to the NFC Championship and then lose. um, Next game, Eagles Bengals. I was really iffy about this game. I was like, it could be the Bengals, it could be the Eagles. Like at the last second, I chose the Eagles because, um, like I said before, uh, well, like I've been saying, the Bengals still haven't fixed their O line. Like they've tried for the past few years, but it's still kind of. And if you have a good defensive line or even a decent defensive line, you're going to be able to get pressure on Joe Burrow and perhaps win that game. So I was like, the Eagles are coming back. They're getting healthier. So hopefully that the Bengals bounce back, but the Eagles right now, they just they put 20 on them. Beat them by 20. Next game, Packers Jags. Um, this was a, a surprisingly close game. I didn't think that the Jags had a chance in this game because uh, I thought that Trevor Lawrence was a pretty good quarterback, but the rest of that team, plus Doug Peterson, but they kept it close. Made the Packers go for a last-second field goal, which they made, which they the past 2 weeks, man, for Packers fans, jeez, last-second field goals to win. Um, but Jordan Love played well. Trevor Lawrence played well. The Packers defense played all right. They played better than most. Um, Xavier McKinney got another pick. I don't know, defensive player of the year. Um, Titans, Lions, not much to say about this game. The Lions coming off a really good win against the Vikings, just blasted the blasted the Titans 52-14. They were just playing with their food at a certain point there where David Montgomery threw a touchdown and and stuff like that. It was pretty fun to watch. Um, Falcons Buccaneers. I didn't really watch this one, but I kept track of it. The Falcons were in the lead for much of the game. I don't think that they were really in any danger to lose the game, um, especially when they went up 31-17. I was like, oh, this might be over. But they got 9 points in the fourth quarter, made it kind of a game, kind of not. When I saw the Falcons go up 31-17, I was like, this might be over. Ravens Browns. Here's an upset. Jameis Winston led the Browns to their highest scoring game in the year, and they beat the Ravens uh, on a couple of drops from Ravens receivers, and the last drive kind of fizzled out, but it's a quality win for the Browns. I don't think that gets them into the playoff contention. Um, I think that the Browns are pretty much out of it because it is the AFC North and they kind of cannibalize each other each year and this happens to to the Ravens where they have these trap games where they just don't look good, and then the rest of the year they look all right or really good, and they make the playoffs, and then they lose. Hopefully this year will be different for them. Um, I think Lamar is really good. I think that he can change his off-season woes, like postseason woes. But let's hope it's this year and not a couple years down the line, because Ravens fans are kind of getting impatient. Let's just say um, this is the best team they've had in a while. Um, Actually, last year was even better, and they couldn't beat the Chiefs. But let's hope this year. Um, Next, we have the Colts Texans. Um, I don't think this game is really indicative of what the Texans are. Um, remember last time when they played the Colts played them close. They played them close and it was a shootout. Now they play them close and it was kind of a defensive fest. But um, CJ Stroud had a bounce back game from the Packers game, um, throwing for, I think, 250 yards or something like that. Yeah, 285 and a touchdown. Um, a bounce back game. They won. They won. So a win's a win, especially in the South. I think the Texans, like from the beginning, I thought the Texans were going to win the AFC South division. Um, I don't think that any of those, maybe the Colts, but the Colts are not ready. I think that Anthony Richardson needs more time to kind of cook because, like, he got a ending injury last year after a couple games, and then this year he has been in and out with injury and stuff like that. So I think that Steichen just needs to sit him for a whole year to like kind of teach him the how to how to throw the easy balls, the easy ones. Because I think I saw at one point in that game that Anthony Richardson was 2 for 15 with a touchdown, 81 yards and a touchdown. So it's kind of like that's the Anthony Richardson in the NFL experience. Next, Chargers Saints. Um, it was close in the beginning, but the Chargers kind of pulled away. The Saints, man, they fell off a cliff. Um, let's just hope that they can come back when Derek Carr comes back. They can kind of kind of how the Browns look right now, where they've beaten the Ravens because they changed quarterbacks. Um, hopefully, it'll put a spark, but it doesn't look like the Saints are in playoff contention anymore. Bills, Seahawks. Um, man, the Bills and the Seahawks. That game was kind of the score doesn't tell the whole story. Where the Seahawks moved the ball really well, but just couldn't do it in the red zone. Um, like I remember in the first half of that game where they were in the red zone a couple times, but they only came out with 3 points. They went for it on fourth down and didn't make it. They were at the goal line, and then Geno Smith just tripped over his offensive lineman. It was kind of like it was really unlucky for the Seahawks in that game. I don't know much about the second half of that game because it was getting out of hand. It was getting out of hand at that point. So I was just like, let's turn to another game. The other game, the Chiefs game, and that was going on. Yeah. Next, the Commanders Bears. Whoo boy, that Hail Mary at the end of that game where Caleb Williams was. I saw a couple guys online being like, "Oh, he's the comeback kid. He's gonna win. He's gonna win the uh, Rookie of the Year award." And I'm like, let's be realistic. Jaden Daniels has been much more consistent than Caleb. Although I love Caleb being a USC fan, but Caleb just he's been getting better throughout the weeks. Um, and like this is nothing compared to his first game where he couldn't even throw the ball, and he started getting better, and then went up against the Commanders and just lost. It was a close game. In the middle of the game, I was screaming at Cliff Kingsbury was run the ball with Brian Robinson, run it, because they were in the red zone like at the 5 yard line like 5 times that game and only came away with 3 points. Um, Just needed to finish drives because the Commanders move the ball really well. They just needed to finish drives. Um, and then that last Hail Mary, everything's coming out with Stevenson, the Bears defensive back, taunting the crowd before the play was even over. I'm not going to talk too much about that. There's a lot more qualified people than me to talk about that. Um, Next, Panthers Broncos 28-14. It wasn't really a contest. The Broncos really dominated this game from start to finish. Even though Bo Nix was had a pretty rough first couple drives, um, it really wasn't close from then. Um, Broncos are a good team. The Broncos are a good team this year. Um, I don't think they're a contender, Super Bowl contender just yet, but hopefully with Bo Nix getting better from year to year. Um, Other than that, they had a pretty good game. Their season is going well so far. Hopefully they can keep it up. Chiefs Raiders. Patrick Mahomes threw another interception. That's 9 for the year. He threw 2 touchdowns, which is 8 for the year. Um, they beat the Raiders 27-20. It wasn't really that close. Uh, it was 27-13 at one point, and the Raiders just got a garbage time touchdown and stuff like that. So it really wasn't that close. The Chiefs thoroughly dominated this game from start to finish. I think that the Chiefs are real, like really the best team, even with Mahomes not playing that well. They still find a way to win, and they're undefeated now. Hopefully, hopefully Mahomes gets back on track, and they can make it a game in the playoffs. Next, 49ers Cowboys. Um, I had the Cowboys losing this game because they still really aren't all that healthy yet, and I don't know what their defense is like. Um, Dak and CD still don't have a great throwing relationship. Um, and I thought that with the 49ers getting some people back and not others, they'll just win this game. I think that Brock Purdy is 11th on the QB scale. I think that he's really good. I think that he's a little bit better than Dak, but still in that upper mid tier of quarterbacks where he's kind of the gatekeeper for the really elite quarterbacks. Nothing against Brock Purdy. I just think that he can play well without everyone there, like all pros there. But he just needs them to put him over the top to do like really really well. And they're like I think that he's better than Garoppolo. And I think that he's the right person to drive the ship that Shanahan made. Um, I think that not many people can do it better than him. He's just not in that upper echelon of quarterbacks. I think that there's about 9 or 10 guys better than him, but that's no shade on him. He's still in the top 1% of quarterbacks playing right now. So, um, for the Cowboys, oh gosh, I just don't know what they do from for now. Everything they've done has kind of fallen apart in the playoffs, and I remember a TikTok. Scooter Magruder, one of his dances when he won. when the Cowboys won. He's like, the Cowboys will win the Super Bowl. And I commented, the Cowboys will lose in the divisional round of the playoffs. And then a bunch of Cowboys fans were like, "Who's your team?" Only the Chiefs fans have something to say, and I'm like, I didn't respond because it was just like these guys are emotional, and it won't it won't really do anything for me to respond to them, even when they got blasted by the blasted by the Packers. Um, tonight's game with the Steelers Giants. I think the Steelers will win. I don't think that's much of a hot take. Um, with Russell playing as good as he was last game, hopefully he keeps that up. Hopefully that he can keep the job um, for at least the year. Um, then Justin Fields needs to learn a little bit from Russell Wilson, how to conduct himself and how to throw the ball downfield and stuff like that. I think that Justin Fields is their quarterback for next year, um, even though for Russell, he's playing really well, but he is getting older. Like for the past couple years, people have been saying he's washed, and I don't think that's really gone away. I think that he's getting older, and um, he might have reinvented himself so he can play longer. But I just think that the Steelers will go with Justin Fields for next year. That's just my opinion. Um, the Giants, ooh, it's been a tough, rough year for the Giants. With Andrew Thomas going out, I think that their defense will stutter and kind of ground to a halt. Even with Malik Neighbors there, uh, I just think that this is a really rough matchup for them. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers will win easily. Um, yeah. Other than that, for next week, Cardinals game playing the Bears. Woo! That should be a good game. And also the MLB today, the Yankees Dodgers. I'm rooting for the Dodgers, by the way. Um, hopefully we go up 3-0. First game in New York. Um, hopefully Edmund will get a few hits. Hopefully Otani is back and stronger. Um, hopefully the injury doesn't uh, bother him too much. Um, hopefully we win the game. And if we do, we go up 3-0. Time for the next game, sweet. But that doesn't happen very much, and I know that Yankees will probably pull one or two if we do win. If we do win the World Series, I think the Yankees will pull one or two out, especially in their home stadium. Um, but go Dodgers! Woo! Thank you all for watching. My schedule for right now is going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 1 o'clock. Um, we'll see how that changes with how my life changes. But for right now, it's going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 1 o'clock. And next week, Wednesday, I'll be talking about more about the Dodgers and the Yankees, and then um, more about the NFL. Yeah. Thank you all for watching. See you next time.